Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Real Talk, where we focus on everything real estate and life related, but above all, we always keep it real. I'm your girl, Venesha Angus, your favorite Ottawa-based real estate agent, and in this episode, we'll be diving deep into the stories behind the hustle, the healing that happens in silence, the heart behind the work, and the growth we don't always post about. I'm joined by someone whose presence in this city speaks for itself. Axel is the CEO of Culture Ties, which is a Canadian media and events production company based in Ottawa, Canada. With over a decade of experience in the entrepreneurial space, Axel enjoys the challenge of methodically thinking through ideas and bringing them to life. He is also a creative, a poetry enthusiast, enjoys binge-watching TV shows, and staying active. Hi, Axel.
Hi, Venesha.
How are you?
Thank you for having me.
Of course. First off, before we get started, I didn't even know you watch TV. I legit did not.
Why is that weird
like,
that I watch
I don't know, because when I read that, I was like, this man reads books. He doesn't watch TV.
No, I actually enjoy TV.
Yeah?
I enjoy TV shows. I'm a TV show whore.
Like, what TV show are you watching right now?
I just finished The Agency. It's a bit like of a CIA kind of show.
I think I've
Really,
seen it.
really
I
solid.
think I've seen it.
I just finished the Dope Thief.
What the hell?
Thief. It's
Netflix?
really good. No, well, I don't know. I have a TV box. You know, I be paying for a TV box that just has all the, you know what I'm saying?
So Prime?
My TV box has everything. It has
shit.
Prime. It has
Okay, you
Netflix.
have to text that one to me.
Exactly.
Okay.
I got that. You know what I'm saying? I got that all plugged.
You got the plug, and it's plugged into your TV.
But you should check out Dope Thief. I think you'll really enjoy it.
Why? What are you trying to say about me?
No, because
Just playing.
it's very well done. I find.
Okay.
And it's a story. It's got a lot of black people. I know you love that.
I don't know black folks.
It's a fun show. It's not too serious, but it's
Okay.
also like, oh damn, this is really good. So
Is
check
it
it
like
out.
a Britain show or?
No, not at all.
Okay, because you know them ones where it's like Top Boys and
Yo, no.
Shotters and
But
all those type of shows.
I would almost liken it to a bit of a Top Boy, but like less serious.
Yeah, I didn't like Top Boys.
But it's less serious. It's you just watch it. Give it a chance.
Okay.
Give it like 3 episodes because it's a slow start.
Okay. As long as it's not like, don't know if I'm little tutus.
No.
Yeah,
It's an American show.
No offense. I just can't handle it. But if it's American, I love me my Americans. So.
We love the British as well. In it, we love the British.
So before we get started on all the questions that I have for you today, and I know
Yes.
you came prepared,
Had
do you
to.
mind if I do a quick prayer?
Yes, please.
Okay. I just like to do this because it sets the tone, but
100%.
bow your heads. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for bringing us together today to have this conversation. And we pray, dear God, that you direct it and allow it to touch somebody that listens or watches this video. May it cover over people, dear Heavenly Father, and allow them to understand the direction that they are taking in life. In Jesus' name, amen.
Man.
So,
I'm scared, Venesha.
no, don't
I'm
be.
scared. Usually you're in my ballpark. This
I
is
know.
my first time being in your...
It's true.
Ooh.
So actually, we're going to get into that. So before I even say anything,
Yeah.
we've known each other for quite some time, and we've known each other before you've started all of your adventures that you're doing right now.
100%.
So I've been there for 613 R&B. I've been there for pieces of us. But for the people that are learning about you today and wanting to get to know you more, give them something so they understand who you are, what you do, and why you do what you do.
I hate this question so much because I'm like, I never really knew, but I guess you can call me kind of a serial entrepreneur, but I'm also very big on growth, like personal growth, and just learning to understand the human experience. I think that's the best way I can position it because we're here for a short time in the grand scheme of things, and I feel like it's important for us to find ways to continue to support each other because life is hard, bruh. Life is lifing right now, especially today.
Who are you telling? When eggs done cost me $10,
Yo, the
shoot, I'm about to just buy a
eggs.
chicken. So,
Yeah, so anyway, so I feel like that's probably the best way to define me is someone who is really passionate about business and learning how to create something out of nothing, because I find there's a lot of power in thinking about something and in like creating that thing and watching it come to life. Obviously there's steps involved, but yeah, I just really enjoy like puzzles.
Okay.
Life is a puzzle. I like to piece it together.
Shoot, you want to do mine too? I gave up after the third piece.
We'll sit together. We'll figure it out. Don't worry.
Okay. Okay, so let's talk about the platforms that you've created. Okay. Let's start with Pieces of Us. So that was the first one, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Share your piece.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's where I initially learned about everything that you were doing. So you asked me to host.
Twice.
Crazy.
Bodied it.
I don't know about
Both
that.
times.
I don't know. I started doing that little stupid chicken dance on stage.
Yo.
Everyone's like, "Oh my God, your dance is so cute." I was scared. I was nervous.
Listen, Diddy or not Diddy? Woo, because we're gonna X-nay on Diddy. I meant Jay-Z. Jay-Z said, what did he say? When I get nervous, I start telling the truth. on stage at the Grammys, you're like, yo, this is me. I'm
literally
act the fool.
Literally, that's me. I was so scared, but it was a great experience, and I've never seen or gone to anything like that. Not
Thank
just
you.
in Ottawa. Even when I traveled to the States, I've never experienced that.
Thank
So
you.
you've created something magical.
Thank you.
So let's talk about first Share Your Piece. What was the vision behind Share Your Piece?
Share Your Piece is where so Culture Ties as a company is the company that kind of holds all these platforms.
Okay.
It's under construction, you know what I'm saying? But it's the main entity that basically houses all these platforms, and as you said, it's an Ottawa-based media and events production company, and we like to reimagine and elevate your idea of like an evening, an outing, right? And other things. But for Share Your Piece specifically, we were looking to create a space where artists feel taken seriously, because I think that a lot of times people downplay the importance of art and the person or the people creating the art, said art, but also ways in which we can kind of like, again, going back to tying the human experience in, ways in which we can create conversation and dialogue around a common theme. And so that's how the themes came into play. So every Pieces of Us Share Your Piece event, you have a theme, and that theme is the guiding principle of the evening. So all the artists kind of perform their art around that theme. They engage with that theme in that way, and it also allows for the guests to be kind of just focused on like one train of thought throughout the night, and it allows for the conversations during the breaks. The conversations are really beautiful. You see people crying, you see people hug it out, you see people just like engaging in active communication with each other, because they're like, yo, I experienced this, or I didn't even know I need to hear this, etc. So yeah, that was the idea behind Share Your Piece. Literally sharing a piece of yourself, whether you're the artist or the attendee.
And one thing I actually really like about that, so I called you a hater for it, but you know what? Looking back at it, it makes sense. So you always had me host the DTF.
The Down to Feel.
Yeah, down to feel. I was trying to build up some suspense.
Oh
Damn.
no, because you dropped that bomb, people immediately like, this black man.
That's what I thought too. I was like, so what are you trying to say about me? Like, and then you were like, no, Venesha, Down to Feel.
Exactly.
And I was like, oh, okay.
And I even told you why you were the perfect fit for it.
I don't remember. Want to tell me again? But even when I attended that, when I hosted that one, what I like you just said, even though there's a theme, you can take that any way you see fit for you as an artist,
100%.
right? So Down to Feel for one person could be something a little bit more intimate, more sexual. For someone else, it could be a completely different thing.
100%.
And that's one thing I truly loved, because when we had a poet go up, it was very like raw, sensual.
Yeah,
and then someone else went up and they went straight to the emotions and trauma. And I was like, holy, this is art. I thought art was painting a little rose are red, violets are blue. I like you, do you like me too? You know, like I did not realize how deep
funny.
Art could go.
100%.
And I think you guys did a really good job of showing that.
Thank you.
No problem. Now let's talk about a little 613 R&B.
Yeah.
So that one I haven't gotten to experience myself.
Yeah.
I think it just never lined up with my weeks, but tell me about 613 R&B. What was the idea behind that one?
So, going back to culture ties for a second, culture ties, we think of like the different products that we have, the platforms as opportunities to share. So through Pieces of Us, we share art. Through Deeply Rooted, we share knowledge. And then through
Okay.
613 R&B, we like to share music. Because if you think about our culture,
Yeah.
we love to dance, we love to sing, we love to move our bodies, you know what I'm saying? Exactly like that.
Tick.
Uh, and I'm super passionate about R&B music. As you mentioned at the beginning, I'm a poet. And so a lot of my poetry has been triggered from uh, R&B music.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Heavily,
Are
heavily.
you gonna like do a poem for us? Did you put that in your notes?
Let me know. Hold on, hold on.
Did you actually?
No, I actually did not. I was,
Oh,
I'm faking you.
I was like, he came prepared.
Nah, I could roses are red, violets are blue you right now if you
Okay.
want
Give me some.
to.
I just gave you one. Give me some.
Now hold on. Roses are red,
Yeah.
violets are blue. I'm here with Venesha.
Oh.
What it do, boo?
Put that on a card. Put that on a shirt.
Yo, I'm over here sweating perspiration. Lord Jesus.
So I've actually is Deeply Rooted new.
Deeply Rooted is it came last year. It
Okay.
started last year,
Okay.
and it's more it's newer.
Okay.
But 613 R&B is sorry, Deeply Rooted and 613 R&B pretty much started at the same time.
Oh, okay, okay.
Deeply Rooted started in was in July last year. 613 was in August last year. So 613, to answer your question more very like directly, 613 R&B is really a platform where we like to take R&B music and make a show out of it. Because I think that there's so many layers to R&B music. The way that we produce the event, the way that we think about it, is so catered to the music, but also your experience as an attendee, because it's going to already call on you to sing and dance, but like what else? Like
Yeah.
what makes that evening memorable enough for you outside of just singing the R&B songs, new and old, that you really love? So our production mindset is really about creating moments. So throughout the night, you're going to have moments on moments on moments that are going to build into one big giant core memory.
Yeah.
So that's how we approach it. So we have some hosts. Shout out to Lonely Boy. Shout out to Jesse. Shout out to my co-producer, Meryl. And we also work with some incredible DJs. We've had two so far. Honey Bun is the one coming up for Montreal.
Oh, cool.
And DJ Jael, they also did our first three.
Okay.
So yeah, no, it's been a really great experience being able to just see people come out en masse. Like I know a couple of serious individuals who came and were very demure throughout the evening. They
Very
came up to me,
cutesy.
yo, Axel, I love you, dog. Like this is such a great night. And I'm like, damn, you?
Delicious, you.
I'm like, damn, okay. No, as long as you're having a good night.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, no, it's this last one we did in February when you missed out, V.
I know.
Oh, Lord
I don't
Jesus,
even
you
know
missed
where I
out.
was.
It was Valentine's Day, so I don't know if you.
Oh, I was working.
Oh, yeah, you
That's
were- you
what it
did
was.
tell me
I was
you were
working.
working.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
it
was like,
was-
there was a reason for sure. Yeah,
It
yeah.
was a time and a half.
I could imagine. Shoot, I would have ended up with a man. I don't know if it made sense for me to go. I would have been like, I'm married. Cheers.
I'm not doing this.
Shout
with
out to 613
I'm not doing this with you.
Where'd you meet your husband? 613 RB.
Yo, actually, we have a segment after 613 R&B
Uh-huh.
the very next day that's called Shoot Your Shot, and it's on Instagram. So we again, thinking of like your experience, you might have gone to 613 R&B
Yeah.
and you're like, yo, I was eyeing this one person all night, across the room. We didn't get to chat. But I really, really, really found them attractive. Something about them, drew me. But I didn't talk to them. So we were like, you know what? Let's create a segment the very next day where you kind of like shoot your shot. So it's like you DM us what the person was wearing. You say something nice about them, and we put it on our story.
If I see a picture of me pop up and
It's
I look
not a picture of you.
crazy,
Someone-
so someone's trying to
someone-
find me, I would have blocked everybody. Everybody getting blocked.
So say I saw you and
Yeah.
I'm like, damn, yo, V is looking stunning. Nah, nah,
Yeah.
nah, I didn't get to talk to you. So what I do the next morning, I go to the 613 R&B page and I look for the little thing where it says shoot your shot. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, yo, to the woman who was wearing all black with the gold, watch
Yeah.
and the gold accessories. You also had this color heel, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You were amazing. You look beautiful. I'd love to talk to you more. We take that and then we put it in our story, like, help us find this person.
You see,
Little matchmaking.
I love that. But if a man does not come and talk to me in person,
Oh, no.
I don't care how packed the place is. You should be climbing over people, crawling underneath.
Are we about to turn this into a relationship podcast?
Hell yeah. So, I think one of my biggest pet peeves is this, right? I don't go out much.
Okay.
I don't go out much.
Okay.
And if I go out, and I've had men tell me, oh, I find you really intimidating. If you find me intimidating, but you got Twitter fingers to come message me after, just don't message me. Because I shouldn't be intimidating, or if I'm that intimidating, you shouldn't even feel the need to message me. I want you to come and talk to me in person. Come and shoot your shot.
But what if the precursor is just chatting with you through text, and then in person, I'm still like, once I've gotten that out of the way, like that, those little like initial bugs, I come up to you and I'm still very much a man about it, and I come talk to you and like we engage in that way. I see your point. I think your point is fair, but I also think you have to account for social anxiety.
Fair.
There are some people who deal with that and it's severe, right?
Fair.
So
That's fair.
and it's not their fault, right?
I just don't know if social anxiety would change right after one simple text. Because if you text me and you're like, hey, how are you? I could be friendly, and then you meet me in person, you still be like,
Oh, sorry.
You know
I
what I
was
mean?
thinking still from the 613 context where it's like a big event. There's a lot of people and like you're just there to enjoy yourself, but you found someone that you found
Yeah.
attractive and you're like, "Oh, I kind of want to talk to them, but I don't know."
yeah.
So I see your point though. I see your point.
I guess we're different because in my head, because it's crowded, shoot, if you say, no, I'm gonna just deep in the night, I'm out. You ain't never gonna see me again. But it's like once it's on, like once I message you,
Yeah.
that message is there. I could be like, hey girl, you see this? Look at this man that just messaged me. And then now you like, dang, am I in her group chat? For a good reason, for a bad reason? You know, I don't know. I guess for me, because I always get the DMs, I'd rather a man just kind of be like, hey, I thought you were very pretty.
not the I always get the DM.
No!
I've caught that.
Did I say
caught
that? I meant I have gotten it in the past. I have in the past.
I'm not doing this with you, Venesha. I'm not doing this with you. We know each other too well for this.
In the past. But yes, that's just my preference. So
Okay,
if anyone's going to
fair.
holler at me, please, if you see me in public and you want to say hi, just say hi. I'm nice. I might not smile, but I'm nice.
She's very nice. I can
I'm-
actually attest to that.
Thank you.
Very sweet.
Thank you.
Under the thorns.
Under the thorns.
That part.
But I'm nice.
Very much so. It's your podcast, boo.
So I want to shift gears a little bit and get into the first topic,
Okay.
which is going to be the season of isolation. Okay. And I thought that would be very big because, again, you've created so many different platforms where I'm assuming you've had to isolate yourself at one point
Yeah.
during that journey to be able to create what you have.
Yeah.
Okay. So the first question I have for you is, are you currently or have you ever gone through a season of isolation? And what did that look like for you?
I probably have two examples for you off rip. I
Okay.
would say the first was actually leading to the creation of Pieces of Us. We were working with a business for marketing services.
Okay.
And so we were heavily involved in like marketing services initially in like the Ottawa kind of food market. And we didn't foresee the challenges that came with working with that particular business. So we ended up like splitting both businesses. Not the most amicable split up, but it is what it is. And so we at that point I felt like our value was not being recognized enough. And I was tired of going to people. I wanted people to come to us because it felt like for so long you're constantly running after the opportunities and the experience, the opportunities. And I was like, you know what? I want to chase the opportunities, but I also want the opportunities to find me. I want to create the opportunity for the opportunity to find me. So I literally texted like the team and a few other people who, if they didn't hear from me, they think I was dead. So I was like, listen, I'm about to go into hibernation for like 2 weeks. I just got to think, right? And I sat there, processed for about a week and a half or so, came up with like a bit of a plan. And then I called up the people I needed to call up, like, yo, this is what I'm thinking of doing. What do you think? First, I spoke to my partner, shout out to Mel. And she was like, this is good. Like, I think this is good. Let's kind of like, fix the rough edges, but I think this is good. And then from there, Piece of Us was born. I think from the first phone call I made, maybe like 3 weeks later, Pieces of Us was born for the first time. And then the second period of isolation was last year, actually, while we were creating Deeply Rooted and 613 R&B. Because last year, Pieces of Us was happening every month from February all the way to November. So that meant right after a piece of us finished, and it was the last Thursday of every month. So anytime pieces of us finished, you had to start prepping for the next one, right? And that was a cyclical thing. But while you're prepping for that, you also are creating two new entities from scratch.
Yeah.
And we are big on value. So we want to make sure that you, as a consumer, when you come, the value that we give back to you is one that you find was worth your investment and is worth repeating every single time. And because we value your business, we value the time that you took to get there. You got dressed, you did your makeup, you did all these things to get here. You paid parking, whatever. So that kind of thinking requires you to like take the time to properly plan from A to Z. What does this first event look like? And that was tough, man. That was really tough for me last summer. I didn't have a summer, and I'm not want to be like, oh my god, I'm outside in the summer. Like I'm not.
Be
Really,
outside.
I'm not really like that. But it was tough because it felt like while a lot of people were supporting, I also often felt very alone in the thinking, in the creating, and the ideation. In piecing it all together, because my role requires me to be kind of like the logistics guy, piecing things together. So it was rough, bro. It was rough. It was really rough. But you come out on the other side and you like, okay, I did that. I was able to do it. That means that I have it in me if ever I'm called to do this again.
Yeah.
And I may just change things based on the things I learned from last time. But I now know that this is a possibility, you know? So those are the...
I like that. I think one thing that you said is, you know, even though you were surrounded by people, you felt alone. And I think that's big because, you know, I feel like my seasons of isolations have been a little bit different in the sense where sometimes it wasn't even business related, my season of isolation. It could have just been personal and just needing to grow. And just being surrounded by family and friends and feeling like you can't open up to them or feeling like you can't have those conversations because one, they might not understand it, but two, it's just, you don't even know what to say. Like you're just in your
you're
own
trying to
motion.
figure it out.
Exactly. So I commend the fact that every season of isolation you went through, you were able to come out with something that you were looking to do. So you took those seriously. And this is going to sound crazy, but I wouldn't say I'm religious, but I'm spiritual. I'm very spiritual. I'm learning more about religion, but I'm definitely spiritual.
Same.
And I think my season of isolation is just not coming to an end, but I think it's not. I'm always like, dang, I feel so lonely and I don't understand why. I'm surrounded by people. I'm going out. But I think it's because I haven't surrendered to my season of isolation, where I haven't just given in to the isolation that I'm supposed to. And I'm always finding things to distract myself, take up that time, take up that space.
Interesting.
Like even when it comes to reading my Bible, I'm like, oh, let me just call a friend instead. Even though I know I don't even want to talk to people, I'm like, let me just do that, or let me watch a show, or let me do this.
Why? In those moments where you were going to read your Bible, but then you made the decision to call your friend, why? If you're being honest.
You know what? I think, again, it comes down to a spiritual thing. I think it's just like that battle of distractions, like when you fight with the flesh, you know, where the spiritual aspect of it and the flesh is where we give into the flesh more because we live in, you know, earth realm or whatever you call it. So I think for me, it's when I'm in that position to pick right, it's like my flesh always wins and I pick the opposite, if that makes sense.
It does.
You know, so I feel like my isolation should have been done. And I feel like God's like, girl, this was supposed to end 2 years ago, but you don't want to sit down.
But
so,
you did make an excellent point about your surrendering.
Yeah.
So you have this knowledge. What are you doing with this knowledge? Okay, all right, cool. Next question.
Sitting on it. You know what's crazy? Even me saying that, I'm like, girl, why have you just not done it? And you know, it's not that I don't. There's moments where, you know, people invite me out and I'll think about it and I'm like, is it worth me going out? Is it worth me putting myself in a position to fulfill whatever this minor feeling is? But then the thing is when I choose not to go out, I don't take that time to do something productive.
Internal.
You know, exactly, you know? So I've definitely experienced a few different isolations, spiritually, just personal reasons, and then business as well. But I don't know if you've ever read the book, The Dip. No, you would love that book. And it's a really quick read. But everything that you kind of discuss where it talks about, you know, if you're meant to be an entrepreneur, if you're meant to be a business person, you have to understand how to get through a dip. And the dip is the point where, business is going up and then you have that plateau, and it's
Right.
what do you do in
Right.
your plateau? And for you,
Okay.
when you're in your plateau, you sit down, you isolate yourself, and you build out something new.
It's important.
So 100%. So people like you do well in the dip because you take that time to see where you're going wrong and to build. While some people might just sit and, and just ponder and not do anything from it. But yeah, so
Interesting.
you should actually check out that
The
book.
dip. No, I'm jot that down right
Yeah,
now.
the dip. I wanted to ask, so I know you kind of answered this a little bit, but what has a season, when you've gone through a season like that, what does that look like for you spiritually, internally, and creatively?
Damn. Internally, and so maybe spiritually first. As like you, spiritually, I believe in God, man. I believe that there are too many things that have happened in my life that just can't be a coincidence. It can't be
Amen.
just me manifesting it. Sure, some of it, but I think there's a higher power looking out for me, especially in some of the like I've experienced some crazy stuff, especially growing up in New York City. Shout out to my New Yorkers. Y'all know. But but I think for me it is I'm big on introspection, so it kind of comes naturally to me to kind of come back internally, because maybe it comes from that place of that desire of like a constant growth, but I'm always trying to find opportunities to improve. Maybe it's also because I'm a Scorpio. I don't know, because I'm like I
You're a
refuse.
Scorpio?
Yeah, I'm a
I didn't know
Scorpio.
that.
I refuse to.
I don't even know much about Scorpios, to be honest. I don't even know why I said that. Like I knew everything.
I'm waiting for the
No,
trail.
I
I'm
actually
like,
have no
it's
idea.
coming. It's
No
coming.
idea.
But I refuse. I kind of refuse to lose. Like or refuse to lose without trying, without giving it my fair try.
Yeah.
And whatever that looks like, if it's me putting in the hours required to get to the end of the project, if it's me seeking counsel or any kind of feedback from people who may have done it, I just refuse to go down without a proper swing, right?
Okay.
So for me mentally, it really comes down to like okay, you want to do this thing, why do you want to do this? And then once I figured out my why, okay, how do you want to do this? Who around you might be able to facilitate? What resources do you have available to you? YouTube University, like there's a lot you can learn, and also just taking in the kind of content that you want to consume for the purposes of your growth. So I don't know if that answers your question, but it's just for me, I truly just believe in that I believe in myself. Imposter syndrome is still very much a thing, even though I say that. I believe in myself, but I also just believe that all these skills and like kind of talents that I may have either learned professionally or just picked up along the way, or that God has placed inside me, I can't just let that go to waste. Like
Yeah.
I find that there's too many things that I just kind of know to do or learn to do and try to do well, and I'm like I feel like I gotta do something with this,
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay, love that. And then, so you mentioned, oh my gosh, imposter syndrome.
Imposter
I was about to
syndrome.
say, I don't know what I was about to say. So you've mentioned imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
How do you deal with imposter syndrome when that comes up?
So it's like a two-step process for me. Like
Okay.
the imposter syndrome kind of, so like maybe the best way I'll do this is Pieces of Us. When shout out to H, when H and I would host Pieces of Us at the beginning,
Yeah.
every time before we go up on stage, without fail, I am stressed because I'm like, we know the night, we know how it should go, but we have to get up there and entertain these people. I'm naturally an introvert. I can do the extrovert thing, but I'm naturally an introvert. So I have to flick that switch on and then like perform. But I'm also like, yo, am I actually like, am I good at this? Like, what if I stumble? What if I not? I don't know if I'm actually the guy for this job. Like, I feel like there might be other people best positioned to do this. And so what H and I developed is about like 2-3 minutes before we go on stage, we'd come together in a quiet space. We would breathe, do like 10 deep breaths, and then we'd pray. And then we get on stage and just kind of let the energy flow. And it also helps that we know each other so well, so we
Yeah.
can play off of one another. So the 2-3 minutes before I get on stage, I'm like, when I'm realizing, oh, this is the time and I got to be up on stage in a second, I'm like, oh, snap. Like, anxiety, cold feet, cold sweats. You're out here just pacing. Your heart starts doing the thing in your chest.
And it doesn't seem like that because I've gone to the show and you seem like, hey, everybody, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like,
I know.
how does he
because
do this?
Externally, I think that I understand that if I'm freaking out, it doesn't help the rest of the people who are in the room
Yeah.
looking to me for guidance, support, whatever.
That's fair.
So I can't let you know my freak out. H will know my freak out because
Yeah.
H is like, that's like one of my safe places is H. But like, externally, I have to keep it composed because it's the show got to go on. The show
Yeah.
must go on.
Yeah.
So so once I'm on that stage though, oh yeah, I'm comfortable. I'm comfortable because I'm like, oh, they're here to have a good time. Just
Yeah.
give them a good time.
And it's
simple.
funny because when you went back to when you made that joke about me with Jay-Z, I'm like the opposite.
Yeah.
I am the type of person, I would just start I'll tell people like, hey, look, I'm real nervous right now, okay? I'm very nervous right now.
That's a great way to do it
But
too.
yeah, that's just me. I don't mean to tell people.
But
and
it's
I
a
try to
great way
keep
to
it very
do it.
demure.
What happens after you tell them? Like when you say I'm nervous, you still nervous or you a little less
Hell
nervous?
yeah, I'm still
But-
nervous.
but are
But
you a
now they
little
know
less?
I'm nervous. So if I mess up, they're like, she nervous.
Exactly.
You know, so that's why I do it. And then when I get nervous, I just crack jokes. Luckily, I'm funny. So it's like, people are like, oh my God, haha, she's so funny. And I'm like, oh shoot, I'm nervous. You know? So it's like, but it works out for me, you know? So I guess
that's hilarious.
everyone has their way of dealing with it. But
Yeah.
it's funny that you say that because I swear, every time I've seen you on stage, I'm like, dang, I want to be like Axel. Like, Axel for president. Like,
Chill.
No, but for real,
Thank you.
You have this calmness. Well, it seems like you have this calmness to you,
Yeah.
and you're ready. You're on all the time, and I want to be like you. I want to walk like you, talk like you.
Hold up. I appreciate it. I'm not good with compliments.
I was to say you're not good with
I'm really trash with compliments. I'm trying to be better. I'm trying to be better.
So say thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
But I think to answer your question, very honestly, the reason that I think I try to stay composed too is because I'm like, bro, there are too many people who have attached themselves to this. There are
Yeah.
too many artists, the team, the venue, the people the technicians, the marketing people, the people in the room, the attendees. There are too many people who have attached themselves to this for this to flop. Like, you feel how you feel, go home and feel that later. At this particular moment in time, you made the decision to put this thing forward, to create this thing, and to make it start at this time. It is your responsibility to see it through. And so after the first 2 minutes, that's the click that happens right after. I know that's coming, but the stress is still real.
Yeah.
And then so once I'm like, okay, I'm a little calm now, that last part clicks in like, all right, bro, it's time.
Yeah.
Like, it's showtime.
So let me ask you this because you mentioned a part. Do you struggle to depend on people?
Absolutely.
Okay,
I'm
'cause-
hyper independent as hell.
Me too. You know
Yeah.
that's actually a trauma response?
Oh, tell me more.
I just learned that because I
Damn.
was like, there is no way.
What?
Yeah, it's a trauma response.
Oh,
yeah, it's
shoot.
crazy.
I'll
Where
have to go
we
chat
went,
GPT
yeah,
this later.
Google it,
Chat GPT,
Google it,
all of
Google
that.
it, Google it, Chat GPT. I could low-key pull it up right now. And the only reason I know that is because shout out to Instagram and TikTok. But I was sitting there scrolling, like doom scrolling, and this mom came up and she's like, if you struggle to ask for help, but then you get mad when no one offers help, that's a trauma response. And I was like, tell me more. So then I went down this little rabbit hole because what else am I going to do at 9 p.m.?
Naturally.
You know what I mean? My kid's already
Naturally.
sleeping.
Mhm.
And
Shout out to Kane.
Shout out to Kane. And it came up that the trauma response is if people have failed you in the past or people didn't have your back or assist you the way you needed it, you now feel like you can't depend on people. So you rather take it on yourself knowing that you're going to do it. Mind blown. Boom. Knowing that you're going to do it the way it needs
Bro.
to be done. But then you usually hold resentment towards people.
Oh,
if they
Lord
aren't.
Jesus,
You don't-
not the
Thank you.
resentment.
Thank you. Talking to someone in the back. But it's true. Like you end
Oh,
up holding resentment
no.
if they don't either ask you for help or ask you to help.
Yeah,
Or
bro.
if they don't see that you're struggling. even
Because
though
they
you tell
perceive
them.
you as a hyper independent individual. You're
Yeah.
the strong friend.
100%.
Lord Jesus.
And that's one thing
Ooh.
with Alex that I struggled with. And he even used to tell me all the time, like, just ask me. And in my head, I'm like, no, I shouldn't have to ask. You should just be able to do it, blah, 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 blah. And he's like, no. Like, some people don't acknowledge that. Just ask. And that's something that I've now come to terms with, that I need to be more open to be like, hey, you know what? I need help. Can you help me? And I struggle with it. I usually stutter when that word, I'm like, help. Like, it's not good. But
Yeah, they'll kill
now
me.
that I understood where it came from, for me, it's something I'm working on. But yeah, because I was going to say to you,
Wow.
when you're in those situations and you feel nervous, what would happen if you went to everybody and said, hey guys, you know what? I feel nervous, so I need you guys to support me and have my back.
But I think I did that without knowing with H.
Yeah.
I feel confident that, yeah, oh man, you just unlocked a lot of stuff. All right, cool. I'm gonna go after this podcast. I'm
You're
gonna go home
welcome.
and chat GPT this because Lord,
You gonna go to Mel and be like, did you know
hundred
this is a trauma
percent.
response?
She probably would. She did psychology, but yeah, no, I go to H like
Okay.
and I guess like I'm very selective about who I go to help for. To your point, you have to not have like disappoint you if you disappointed me deeply, I may not go to you. If you've disappointed me here and there, just random whatever, if you still created space or held space for me in the future or in different ways, I'm still go to you. Especially if like I feel like you're my partner in crime in this. So H, I did that subconsciously without knowing, and that's where like we do the breathing technique and we do the prayer, and like just physically having him on stage with me always just felt like I'm at peace. I'm good,
Okay, yeah.
because I know that if I stumble, he'll pick me up.
Yeah.
So
Oh, I love that.
that's the yeah, I might even subconsciously this is all my tear. You know what I'm saying?
Don't cry now.
Oh.
I ain't bringing enough tissue for both of us. So, so just going back to the season of isolation before we switch gears.
Yeah.
What helps you get out when you're in that season of isolation? What helps you get past that? Or is there someone that helps you get past that?
Conversations. I have a lot of conversations with my close loved ones who I value like their opinion highly. Therapy. Shout out to my therapist. He's a real one. I put him through some things, but
He's like, your rate just went up.
therapy and the gym.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
working out, trying to stay as active as I can be. It's been harder in the last little bit, just with the volume of activity that we've been seeing with our businesses. But the gym is definitely like my sanctuary.
I was gonna say, you be looking swole, boy.
It's the
You
genetics.
looking swole.
West African.
Nah,
gang,
the
you know what I'm
R's
saying?
be looking swole.
Nah, hold on, chill.
He be working. I say thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm gonna call you out every single time I give you a call. If you don't say
Alright.
thank you, I'm gonna call you out.
All right, cool.
We should
That's
honestly
good.
do a game, a competition. Count how many times he doesn't say thank you to a compliment.
Oh no, the lights is too bright.
That's funny. So
Oh, man.
I want to switch gears a little bit, okay? Because we spoke about your creativity.
Yeah.
Let's talk about creative growth versus your personal growth. Okay. So, how has your creative journey grown you as a man? Do you feel like it's changed you? It's made you better?
For sure. Like I would say, because two parts. One, poetry is really an introspective exercise for me. Again, I'm a softie, bro. R&B music, it just be triggering some things inside of me.
I don't know if you could be a softie if you're from New York. I don't
You
think
kind of
soft and New York
you
don't go
kind of
together.
have to be a little.
I don't even have
soft.
soft serve ice cream. Like,
Now you gotta be hard body to get
Yeah.
through life. But when you go home, you could just
Yeah.
let yourself go a little bit, you know. But poetry is very much an introspective exercise for me because I kind of talk to myself through myself, if that makes sense. So I try to use it and leverage it as a means to channel all the things that I have been telling myself subconsciously and not coming to terms with. Whether it's like romantically or whatever else. And then through pieces of us and like culture, all the stuff that we've been doing on the business. And I think that honestly, because we're so big on driving value, like making sure that you have the value back for your investment, and it's on all levels, like whether you're a guest, whether you're the venue who's lended us your space, whether you are a team member who is lending your time, your energy that evening, whatever else, whether you're the artist performing or someone else who we're working with, it's taught me to be a much better communicator.
Okay.
Much better communicator. Be a lot more patient with myself and with others. Be a lot more disciplined. A lot more discernment, I think, too, I would say. And also, how do you continue to be someone who people can put their trust in?
I like that.
Because I think that there's so many people who come through the platform and do different things for us, with us, and that's all coming from a trust kind of place, right? And even the guests who attend, who pay their money, like there's a trust there that you can't undervalue. So for me, it's constantly reflecting on those things, but also allowing the challenges of dealing with multiple personality types, and how do you communicate what you need to communicate to all these people, what hills to die on. I promise you, it's not that many hills. When you strip your ego to the side, it's not that many hills to really die on. It's really not. Like when you actually look at when you look at the thing and you're like, okay, how do I move this thing forward? Outside of me, I could be wrong, and I'm cool with that. And you gotta put the product first. And sometimes the product is growth, self-growth, Venesha.
Yeah.
My friend taught me this.
Like that.
Yeah.
Like that. I wanted to touch on what you said, because you keep on going back to the point that you want to make sure that people are getting the value for what they're paying.
Absolutely.
And when you become an entrepreneur, you start to realize that you're really in the people business. That goes
100 million.
no matter what your product is. You're in the people business.
100
Even with
million%.
real estate, I've learned that. Well, I mean, for me, I've always been in sales.
Yeah.
So with real estate, it's more than just the home. It's the feeling that home gives the person. It's the trust that they have, in me as their realtor. And
100%.
I think one of my biggest things that I'm so grateful for is I've never worked with someone where they haven't given me their full trust. And that's massive. When I say full trust, I mean, if they're like, hey, my toilet's broken, I can tell them a person and they don't even question who I sent to them, 100%. Just because I've done such a good job with building that rapport. Exactly.
That trust equity.
Exactly. Yeah. So I feel like when you own, or when you're starting a business, don't look at it in the sense of not just your product, but look at who you're going to be serving. That's really important. Who you're going to be serving and how to make sure that you're serving them the best that you can.
Absolutely.
Because the product will always sell itself.
And listen to them.
Listen to them. That's massive.
Do surveys. Like talk to your people at your events or at the showings. Like talk to people. Yeah. Because they'll tell you.
100%.
They'll tell you.
Like I know I do a good job with my clients when they find me on social media.
The follow.
No, dead ass serious. Like I know my clients like me when they go that extra step to be like, I like this girl. We're friends. That's like dope. I've had clients reach out to me on social media and I was like, what the hell? What the hell?
Now you're a little influencer though. You're an influencer, whatever.
Like, I'm a mother.
Say thank you.
Thank you. Not you calling me out. Honestly, I'm really bad with it. I don't do well with compliments. When people give me compliments, I like cringe. I'm like, I start twitching, start sweating, wig sliding back. I'm like, oh God, say thank you. And I just struggle to say thank you. Like I can't. Like you see, I'm like playing with my water bottle because I just got shy. Damn.
So how can you be shy, or how can you hold it against the shy guy who doesn't come up to you and talk?
It's my job to keep you accountable.
Yo, we're not doing this.
I'm the friend that keeps you accountable.
Okay. Anyway, it's your show, boo. I'm just here. I'm here for the vibes.
No, but for real, y'all. If you guys are starting a business, that's massive.
Gotta listen to
the fact that we have two completely different businesses,
very different
and
industries.
We still have the same ideology exactly behind what's important. That just tells you that if you're not putting your clients first, you could have the best product. It's not going to do nothing.
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
We agree.
So are there any moments where you had to choose between growth and comfort?
Oh.
I've been choosing comfort. I ain't going to lie to
you. Wow. I guess there are two. One very big example, and then one that's like, oh, it kind of snuck up on me. First thing was when my parents were telling me, yo, you have to do a master's. And I decided no. Ooh. Because, or at least not yet.
Okay.
Because when I finished university, I was really, really young. And so they were like, you got to do your master's now. And like, that's the kind of the trajectory. And I can't blame them because obviously that's what served them. And it's true for a lot of people. And sometimes even for the people it doesn't serve who didn't go that route, they know the importance of it. And so they want their child to go that route too. So I can't fault them for wanting that for me. But I just never felt like that was my initial calling. I was mad young. I'm about to go do a master's. I'd be overqualified with no job experience. So I knew in my head anyway, I was like, I'd have all these like diplomas, but no real life experience to actually like lend to these, to lend my experience to, at least like my academic experience. And so, I fought them, bro. I fought them. When my sister came along, she went the route of like school and then did the master's. So at least one child made them proud. I'm just joking.
They're proud of you. I see
I'm
them
just
at
joking.
Pieces of Us.
Yeah,
And I'm like,
no,
oh, look
they're
at his parents.
they're proud. They're proud. But yeah, I was like, no, I want to learn. I feel like I'm more manual. Like I like to like learn with my hands and through experience. So I jumped kind of 2 feet into entrepreneurship, and it's been a battle. Again, imposter syndrome. You're like, should I have followed what the parents have said, and like trying to figure out the entrepreneurial route. That's the first example, and the second would be 613 R&B, because we're taking it to Montreal on June 7th.
Yeah.
It is our very first time ever taking an event on the road ever.
That's
and let me
crazy.
tell you, I was not ready. The amount of work, bruh. I'm not shy about working, but bruh. Holy, it's an experience. That's another podcast.
But do you regret it?
No, I'm learning so
There you
much.
go.
I'm learning so much.
Yeah.
It's been an eye-opening experience from so many different levels. But yeah, we started in Ottawa. It's called 613 R&D. Like it's
Yeah.
in Ottawa. Like home base is always going to be Ottawa. So we decided, you know what? For the vision that we have for this platform, we have to test it on the road. We have to try to see if it can work in another market.
Yeah.
Ottawa has responded in like a way we couldn't have ever imagined to this event. They are like, they love it. They're mad at us for not having one this summer, but it's a BRB. We'll be right back.
Yeah.
But it's been interesting because it would have been comfortable to stay here and continue to offer it to the city. But I think for growth, you have to put yourself in uncomfortable positions, and even if you fail, at least like put your best foot forward while you're failing. And that's what this is for us. It's like we gotta try all the different tricks and tips. Like we gotta go through all the different layers of like sourcing information and trying to make this thing stand on its own 2 feet. So it has been some stress.
Yeah.
Lord Jesus, it's been some stress.
But it seems that you choose growth over comfort every single time.
Always.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm here for a short period of time. I'm not gonna just sit here and just, I love TV shows, but like, there's only so much. I'm the kind of human, I'll watch a TV show, and as I'm watching, I'm imagining all the ways in which they had this, like the levels of the layers that it took to get this thing on my screen.
Yeah.
So from the person who thought it, to the person who scripted in the room with the others who scripted, to the production team, to the places that they had to shut down to shoot this thing, to the, bro.
So are you really even enjoying the show, or are you enjoying the thoughts in your head?
Both.
Because, oh, okay. Because he's like, watch a show, and I'm like, is he even watch a show? Or is he
Both
breaking
can
down
be
the
true.
script? Like,
Both can be true. Man, some of my favorite line from a TV show was Scandal. Olivia Pope.
Yeah.
Her dad, whoever that writer is, shout out to that writer. I forget how he positioned it, but he said something about how like humans will constantly disappoint you, and then he flipped it and did. I'll find the line. I'll send it to you.
Okay.
We could put it under here.
Okay, cool. And you know
But,
what's crazy is, so I've always been the type that wanted to grow.
Yeah.
Before my child, I was the type that's YOLO. I did not care. I would try anything. Same
Okay.
thing. Didn't really want to go to well, I went to university. Didn't really care for it because in my head I was like, I don't see myself
Okay.
doing whatever I'm taking. I think, and at that time I took human kinetics.
HK.
And even when I took human kinetics, I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I wanted to open up my own athletic therapist clinic.
Okay.
I never saw myself working for other people for long.
Okay.
But funny enough, when I had my son, I went through a lot of traumatic experiences and I chose comfort. And I feel like I'm still trying to transition out of that comfort and back into growth, where now I'm always concerned about the decisions I make because I have to make sure that he's not affected by it, right? So I would say for me, I definitely choose comfort more often. Not in the sense that I'm not still growing, but if it's to grow, it needs to make sense. Like I can't just jump into it hoping, and that comes back down to faith, where I need to have the faith that it's going to work out, but I struggle with that right now.
But I would also say that that's growth. There's growth in the comfort. Like I think you were saying that before the kid, I was YOLO. Now I'm choosing more comfort, but I'm still, I'm thinking about my decisions a little bit more. That's growth. Whereas before you weren't necessarily thinking of the impact
Not at
beyond
all.
yourself.
No.
Right. And so I think that you need to still recognize the growth in that
Yeah.
too. And I think growth doesn't have to happen at a particular scale or at a particular speed.
Yeah.
I think growth is what you make of it. And I think as long as you get to where you want to get to, however long the race took, is fine. Like at the end of the day, you are your own master and you understand your needs best.
100%.
So who said that? Someone said, I'm big on quotes. Someone said, be yourself, everyone else is taken.
Facts.
And I'm like, yeah, that's really
Facts.
it. So just whatever feels right for you in the
Yeah.
moment that it feels right, as long as you feel your best in that, in whatever it is that you've chosen. I think there's no wrong answer. Some people are more, and again, comfort for me is not. There's no downside to comfort. Comfort also is a time for pause, a time for rest, a time for like kind of turning more inward. And when you're growing, maybe sometimes too fast, you don't have the time, you
Yeah.
don't have the chance.
Yeah.
So
It's funny though, because even though I feel that I'm in a position where I'm choosing comfort, I always have so much anxiety backed by it
Fair.
because I know I could do more.
Fair.
And typically they say when you're feeling anxious, it's because you feel like you're not doing something you're supposed to do, is
Fair.
what they say.
Fair.
And so I've always been an overachiever. Always have been an overachiever. Like, played rugby. Why would I just stick to high school when I can go to college? Why would I do college when I can play for university? Why stick to university when I could play for Team Canada? Like,
Yeah.
I was always like,
Yeah.
and then once I hit that goal, I'm like, okay, what's next?
Okay.
And I think for me, I'm at that point again where I'm in real estate. I'm like, okay, I'm starting to understand it, but it's like, okay, what's next? Do I build a team next? Do I do this next? Like, I don't.
Satisfied.
Yes, I'm never satisfied. And it's like my appetite. I just want more and more and more. And it's not a bad thing, but I struggle with being patient, where it's like, now. Like, hey God, I'm done now. So I think that goes back to kind of my season of isolation, where I'm trying to rush that, and instead of enjoying the point that I am in my life, to take that time and rest, to take that time and acknowledge everything that I've accomplished and the things that I'm currently doing. I'm always so focused on the past or future. Where did I mess up and what can I do better in the future? And I never really focus on the present. Do you feel like you focus more on the present, or do you feel like you're more ahead as well? You focus on everything.
I'm exactly like you, but I think for me, it took my partner to tell me, no, like you actually need to take a second to understand what you have done and what you have built, because it's not something that is, and I say you, but it's us really, like it's an entire village, because it's not as simple as, oh, I'm doing the thing. No, there are steps that you need to take before you do the thing. Sometimes some people don't even get to the steps. It's a thought and it goes away.
Yeah.
Right? Because they may not have the means, they may not have the energy or the interest. But I think for you, because I'm hearing you and I'm like, do you know at what point? So when you go from like high school to like university on the rugby team and like you're like, okay, I made the rugby team. Is there anyone patting you on the back or telling you like, yo, you did that, congratulations?
No, and I think that's
Okay.
always been my thing so I was the first kid to go to university in my family.
You told me, yeah.
Yeah, so I was the first kid to go to university in my family. Honestly, the first kid to do a lot of things. And I think for me, my parents aren't the type that's like, congratulations, good job. Like, they're not that type. And I've kind of just grown up never being that type towards myself. It's more just like, okay, I did that, what's next? I did this, what's next?
Do you feel like you're constantly having to prove yourself to yourself and others?
I wouldn't say to others, but I would say to myself. And I feel like I have this idea that other people are judging, even though they're probably not. But I have this thing that it's like, they probably think I could do more, so let me do more. And I struggle with that too.
Why do you see yourself through they?
I don't know.
Through the lens of they?
I don't know. And one thing you know what? That's not that I don't know. I've struggled with being a people pleaser.
Okay.
And that's something I've been working on.
Okay.
Right now, I'll tell you I was about to say something. I can't say it, but
I could tell. I felt it in my spirit. I was like, "Oh, she about to cope
I
with
was
that."
like, "Go!" Woo! Almost got me.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
But I have struggled with being a people pleaser. I've struggled with just a lot of things where I always wanted to fit in. I never
Right.
felt like I fit in.
Right.
And for me to feel like I fit in or I'm of the same caliber, I need to do more. So that's something I've definitely struggled with, and I've been learning how to pat myself on my back, to reward myself, and
100%.
to appreciate myself for all that I've done. So
100%.
now all my friends now try to keep me accountable because they say the same thing. They're like, Venesha, you do so much, you do so much. And I'm like, no, I don't do enough. I need to do more.
You wear a lot of hats, bro.
I wear a lot.
You
I wear a lot of hats. Not just
hats.
this wig, child. A lot of hats. I got hats, wigs, everything. Like I was just, it's a lot. My head's heavy.
Yo,
Damn.
you could have just let that be a solid moment.
You know, I
You
know,
didn't
I
have
know,
to
I
do
know.
that. Say thank you.
You're welcome. Oh, thank you. You see, I'm so bad at taking compliments. I was about to.
She said, "You welcome."
Thank you.
That's hilarious.
But yeah, no, it's definitely something I struggle with for sure.
I'd be curious to explore that more later with you after
child.
we are done entertaining these fine people who are watching us.
I'm not paying for that therapy session.
It's on me.
Okay, cool. But since I know you, because look, let me tell you something about Axel. There is something about Axel
Oh, no,
where
stop.
no. You go and say thank you after.
Thank you.
There's something about Axel, and I mean this wholeheartedly, where I am intimidated by Axel. Not in a bad way, in a good way. Just
What?
there's the way you carry yourself, your demeanor, everything about you intimidates me, but in a good way where I'm like, I want to be better when I'm around you, which is
Wow.
a good thing.
Wow,
you know?
that's a great compliment. Thank you.
Oh, okay, so that one he can take.
Actually, no,
He
that
said
hit
poetic
that,
justice.
That hit, no, that hit me in the heart for real. Like
Okay, cool.
that actually means a lot to me. That being around me makes someone want to be better.
Oh yeah, I get scared.
Bro, that's crazy.
I get scared when I'm around you, where I'm like, don't act crazy, Venesha. Like Axel's very demure, so I keep P's and Q's.
Wow.
But no, for real. And
Thank you.
there's never been a conversation that we have had where I haven't taken something from that conversation. You've never put me in a
Likewise, though.
position where I felt judged, or you've always made me feel seen, and I respect that and I appreciate that. So I'm gonna say I ain't gonna cry because my makeup looks really good. But I really do appreciate that, because that has been, I don't have many people in my life that do that. Or when they do it, it's because I know everything I've accomplished. It's not that it doesn't mean a lot when they do it,
Yeah.
but it doesn't hold the same value,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So one, thank you for that.
You're
And
welcome.
for me saying that, the reason I brought that up is because we're going to be jumping into healing in the community, because I feel like a lot of the things that you've done have brought a lot of healing to the community, and you provide people with a safe place. The spaces that you have created for others to feel safe, who creates that space for you?
Before I answer your question, I want to go back to your point about.
Oh, Josh.
No. I just want to say, that it's funny. I don't think I ever told you this, but one of the I don't know if you remember, but I texted you at some point, and I was like, "Yo, if ever you need anything, anyone to talk to," I'm paraphrasing, but I said something to that effect, like, "Just call me."
Yeah.
Because I didn't tell you why or what the feeling was behind it, but like something in me told me, yo, I don't know that Venesha has a lot of people who she can do this with. Because when we do the one-on-ones, I'm like, yo, I feel that there's just so much that she's carrying that she feels like she's finally able to unload in this moment. And you never say it, but I just feel it. So I'm like,
Yeah.
you know what? I kind of want to, because a lot of people don't have the kind of support system that they can go to be able to like do that. And I recognize that I represent that for a lot of people. And I'm selective about who I give myself to like that. So so for you, like from the rip when we first met, I was like, yo, this she's lit. She lit. Like you're so silly.
I'm lit.
I was like, yo, she's lit. Like I F with this human being.
Yeah.
Like you are actually dope. And just in talking, I recognize a lot of similarities. And I'm like, yo, I want to be there for this person. Should they ever need me. So I just want to say that, like in front of the camera, as much as you really appreciate me, I really appreciate you
Ain't been
too,
a
for real. But to answer your question about the business, who holds space for me? It's interesting because I was having this dialogue internally the other day, and I was I forgot. I think Mel said something, and I was like, oh, I wonder if my hyper independence makes me unable to recognize those who are holding space for me. And after that exercise, I came to the realization that no, there's a lot of people who hold space for
Holy
me.
shit, I just clicked in what you said. I have never even thought about that. Wild. Okay.
Yeah. The
Okay.
hyper independence might hold you from recognizing that there are people who hold space for you.
Wow.
Because I'm like, I don't like to feel like I'm burdening people.
Yes, and
And
that's big.
I know, and I know you feel the
Yeah,
same.
yeah.
So I'm like, I don't want to go to you with my problems because I'm like, you have problems of your own.
Exactly.
And
But it's crazy because we'll let them come to us with their problems, which
exactly.
makes us feel better because we feel like we're assisting.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And we're
it's
doing something.
wild.
Yo, it's a trauma
It's
bond experience up in this.
talk to them. We gonna go cry in the car
Yo,
after.
oh, for shizzles. When the cameras cut off, bro. No, but for real, I think there's I'm privileged enough to say that there are a lot of people who hold space for me. You know, Mel, my partner, an incredible human being, business partners as well who are also close friends, and a lot of creatives I've met along the way actually through Pieces of Us. And other like just other stuff that I've done in my life. Like I've met a lot of people who are just willing to give. And I guess for me, I'm so reluctant to take because I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't, one, I may not want to take at the wrong moments because
Yeah.
I'm like, what if I do need this actually more later down the road? And two, I'm like, but is it like, do I need it for real, or can I do it myself? I don't want to burden you. I don't want to ask too much of you, but I'm also afraid to be disappointed.
I was gonna
That
say I'm
is,
afraid to feel like I owe you.
oh,
That's a big one
interesting.
for me. Where if you do something for me, I don't want to feel like I don't want people to use stuff against me. Like, oh, you came to me for this and that. I don't like that. So I think that fear of mine too is let me just take
That's
care of this
fair.
myself because I don't want
That's
anybody to
fair.
ever come back and try to
That's
use
fair.
that against me.
That's fair. I don't look at it more from that. I look at it less from that lens because I know that I give a lot. So I'm like, even if like I don't ask for much.
Yeah.
So I'm like, there's already kind of like that dynamic that exists. So if I were to ask, I don't feel like I might owe you, but I just don't want to feel disappointed because I guess the image I have of you, I don't want that to be tainted. If ever I do ask something of you, you disappoint me. I know how I take that. I'm still working on that, on trying to like lessen, like have a more proportionate response to disappointment. But there's that fear that exists, I think, in me too, where I'm like, yeah, thank you for holding the space. It means a lot to me. I'll be right back. You know?
But do you feel like the disappointment can come from them not doing what you need in the way you need it? Not that they didn't do it for you, but it didn't come out the way that you would have preferred it. Do you think that could cause disappointment for
No,
you?
I definitely have control issues, but like in the business world, but I'm not. I've learned to let go of like people doing things their way.
Okay.
Because at the end of the day, if the thing still gets done, as long as the end result is the end result, the way that I like the road there is not really important for me. Where I'm more concerned is if I ask of you, you say you'll do it and then you don't do it,
Oh,
or you do it half-assed, where you give it to me kind of like where I still have to do more work.
I hate that.
Yeah,
If I gotta redo it, don't help me. I'm sorry, but like,
I should
if I
have
have
just
to
done it
yeah,
in the
I should have just
first
did it. I would have
place,
saved myself
right?
time, energy. I wouldn't have been stressing if you even doing it properly. I would have just did it. So I get that.
Exactly.
Yeah. I
That's
get
where it
that.
comes from.
Yeah.
I feel like you though feel the it's more the opposite. Like you feel like you if I ask you and you don't do it the way I needed you to do it.
I'll get overwhelmed. But I'm very
Interesting.
good though. There's something because I know that about myself
Yeah.
and I'm very particular with things that like you said, you don't really care about the how they did it as long as as long as it's the right end result.
Yeah.
I need to know how you did it. I don't know why I'm like that. It's still the controlling. I haven't gotten to
Yeah.
that part yet where I can let that part go because in my head I'm like, ah, my way would have just made way more sense. Like, even though we're at the same end goal,
Yeah.
my way would have just made way more sense. And I
Why?
don't know. In my head, it's like, and I need to understand that there's multiple ways to do
For
things.
sure.
But I just feel like my way is the best way because it's my way. You know what I mean? So I think that's why I also struggle with letting
Okay.
anyone assist me is
Okay.
because even though you might get to that same end result, it's like, I don't know.
But why did you do it this way when you could
Why?
have done it this
Yeah,
way?
and that's
Okay.
the control aspect.
For sure.
And I've had friends, family tell me like, Misha, why does it matter? It's done.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you're right,
But
but for next time. If you could just try it this way, you know? So that's the aspect that I still need to let go of that control.
Yeah.
And just understand that, yes, if people are going to help me, they're going to do it to the best of their abilities. And it might not be exactly the way I would have done it, but the fact that they were even willing to take that time to do it for me is still a blessing. So I'm still working on it.
You're a work in progress.
I ain't there yet.
Work in
Still hyper
progress.
independent. So what's been the most healing part of building your platforms like 613 R&B and Pieces of Us?
Oh, 100% validation.
Yeah?
100% validation. Because I
Really?
think there's always that, again, coming back to imposter syndrome and also tying back in like my parents wanted me to go one route. I wanted to go another. We, at least for creatives, I know this is true, where we are constantly doubting. You never really know when your product is finished, and you also never really know, or like your art is finished, and you also never really know if this direction you're taking is the right one, because you're feeling so many things. And in creating these like platforms, there is an overwhelming sense of validation that I feel when I hear people say things like you, for example, earlier when you said, like, when I'm around you, it makes me want to be a better person. Like, I wasn't actually kidding. Like, I'm gonna go home and like cry about that for real. Because like, no, like
I
that
actually almost
means
teared up. That's why I was like, fuck off me, fuck off me.
that means a lot to me. And the
Yeah.
same way that people put their trust in us, whether it is an artist, whether it is a guest, whoever, like you trust us enough to come to this platform, and all the hard work that is unseen, that I'm like, that I'm crafting this thing, and then like the team is doing this other thing, and then this other person's doing, like, there's so many cogs in this whole thing, and like there's a lot of power in being physically, like, watching that thing that you were working on, thinking about, seeing the masses just kind of like gravitate towards it and like make it their own, like appropriate it as their own. It is no longer yours, it belongs to everyone now. And that to me is the ultimate sense of validation, because it's like there's meaning here, there is respect here, there's understanding, and most of all there's a genuine sense of like, I see me through this,
Do you feel like you give yourself validation though, or do you only
I
get
didn't
it from
used to.
others?
I didn't used to. I would
Okay.
just always be in the motion. Like you,
Okay.
I'd always be like, what's next? What's next? Like, let's get it done. Now, today, I try, in the last year, I would say, I'm doing a lot better in trying to be more present at my events, because when you're working it, you're thinking of all the ways in which things can go wrong, and the solutions you should have kind of like proactively ready to be able to respond to a situation. Or even like when you're dealing with different people, you're negotiating different deals and whatever, you're thinking of all the angles in which, at least I do, that it could go wrong, and how do I mitigate this? If it goes down this way, how do I do that? And in the moment, it used to be hard for me to enjoy, because I'm constantly looking at the rest of the lineup, the
Yeah.
programming, trying to understand what's happening next. Who do I have to call on? What do I have to do? And so now, though, the last 613 R&B, and even the last Pieces of Us, there were like moments where I actively tell myself, all right, stop and just take it in. Just take it in.
That's important.
Take in all the humans that are here present in this moment, unified together, focusing on one thing, which is whatever it is that you and this team have put together in place for them to experience. Like, understand how powerful that is.
Yeah.
I was at a conference the other day, not a conference. It's the Ottawa Design Club. It's a platform here in Ottawa,
okay.
right? And so the speakers, one of them, they said, I asked the question, and they said that, amongst other things, they said one of the things that they heard that was really impactful for them was one of the creators of the Matrix said, there's a lot of power in thinking about something, creating that thing, then using that thing to pull yourself forward. And I was like, holy, insert the curse word here.
Shit.
I was like, yo, this is crazy. Like,
Yeah.
using the thing out of your brain to pull yourself forward,
Yeah.
open up doors for yourself, walking through some of these doors, call on different people. I have certain phone numbers in my phone now that I couldn't have dreamt of before.
Oh, period. Not the phone number. You gonna put them on the screen or what? Nah, you can't do that. Conflict of interest. I get it. Answer my own question.
Yo, the dialogue is crazy. But yeah, now like I'm able to have, and I'm able
Yeah.
to get things done a lot faster. So there's a lot of power in that. There's a lot of power in stopping.
Yeah. And you know what? Another book. Can't remember the name of the book, but I don't know if you've ever heard of Be, Do, Have.
Oh, I think I've heard of that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's not the name of the book, but that's a part of the book. I can't remember the name of the book right now, but there's a part in the
There's a
book.
book that's similar to that.
Oh, is there? Probably.
Yeah, okay.
It's a pretty big or a known,
Okay.
whatever, I don't know what you call it, but whatever. So from what you're saying, it just reminds me of the Be Do Have, where it states, you know, you got to be the person you want to be, to do the things you want to do, to have
The
what you
thing,
want.
yeah.
You
Ooh,
know,
that's
so
tough.
yeah, I love that.
Ooh.
Clock that. I feel American. I feel like I should one of them Atlanta girlies. But that for me, you know,
Yeah.
just kind of watching you grow as well. You really took that on, like very seriously. You became the person you wanted to be, and you
Trying
did
to
those.
be, still trying.
But from
But
from
thank
when you
you.
first started to now, you're different.
Thank you.
You're different, and I see, and not in a bad way. Like I see it.
No,
The way
for
the way
sure.
you carry
For
yourself is
sure.
different.
For sure.
And I see like your little business hat on now. Your entrepreneur hat on now, and I love that.
Thank you.
And it's crazy because I think this is a switch that I'm making now,
Mm.
where I had this. I limit myself a lot. You know, when a lot of people are like, "Oh, it's Ottawa. You don't need to do
Yeah.
this. It's Ottawa. You know,
Yeah.
Ottawa doesn't
No, I
have
hate
anything."
that. I hate that.
But
hate
I was that person. I
Okay.
was 100% that person. I was like, "Oh, it's Ottawa. I don't got to dress up as a realtor. Here, it's Ottawa." And
There's so much opportunity in
so
the
much
city.
opportunity.
Yeah.
And my brother, so he lives in Chicago. Shout out to you, Amir. So he lives in Chicago, and he's actually an influencer there. And
Nice.
you know, culture in the States and here is completely different.
For sure.
And he made a comment. He said, you know, like, how do you dress when you go to work? Do you wear makeup? Do you this? And I'm like, no, it's Ottawa. Like, I'm not gonna do that. And then he was like, well, how do you expect to become one of those realtors that are selling those $1 million homes that are, and that's when
not
I was
doing
like,
it
oh, I gotta
now.
be to have. And that's when I
Yeah.
switched it up and I was like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, you're right. He's like, girl, always carry heels in your car.
100%.
Always have your hair done. What if a client randomly calls you and they need to see a home or they need to do that? What are you gonna do? Pull up in your jeans
And
and,
there's
stuff?
power in looking and feeling good.
100%.
There's so much. Yo, I put this dress shirt on early. I'm like, ooh,
I know.
Ooh.
I was like, ah, shit. Came in a black shirt.
stop.
It's Ottawa. No, I'm just like,
Stop. Yeah, no, I like that though. I like that a lot. Your brother's right.
No, 100%.
You gotta dress
100%.
for the part that
Yeah.
you want.
And it's
essentially.
so true because when I do, I feel more confident.
Yeah.
I feel
Yup.
more prepared because I've
100%.
had it where clients have called me and I was not dressed up and I, you know, like wig not even glued down, got to throw on I know I always go back to my wig, but I had to like throw on a little freaking headband and I was
Agreed.
just like, oh, sorry. Like have to come up with some excuse as to why I look crazy, you know? And then after having that conversation, I was like, I will never put myself in that position again where.
Shout out to your brother.
Thank you. Like if I want to be selling those $1 million homes, or I don't even see myself staying in Canada. Like I truly see myself as like one of those Chicago
Oh, okay.
realtors. Yeah, I've always dreamt about living in
Oh,
Chicago.
you finna leave me?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we out. Come visit though. But I've always dreamt of that, and I had to ask myself, am I doing what I need to do to eventually accomplish that? And the answer for a long time was no. I wasn't. I wasn't dressing the way I needed to dress. I wasn't communicating the way I needed to. I wasn't presenting myself as how the future Venesha would present herself. So when I switched that up, my confidence levels went up. I can't even think of the word. Exponentially. There we go.
But you have that awareness, and then you did
100%.
something with the awareness.
100%.
That's to me growth.
Oh, look at that.
Full circle.
If you're not
moment.
growing, you're dying. That's what my
That's-
boss always says. My boss says if you're not
I
growing,
hear that
you're
often.
dying. So, and I'm like, phew, I'm too young for that. So let me start growing a little bit more. So, but one other thing that I wanted to mention just in terms of that is, which is going to be crazy. I'm very much an introvert as well. And everyone's always like, you're such an extrovert. I'm like, no, I'm
No,
not.
we do the thing.
We do what we need to,
Yeah.
and I just learned this too. Like I've just been learning so much. Where when you say you're an introvert, doesn't mean that you're not a people person. You can still be a people person. It just means that you don't get energy, or your energy doesn't.
You don't recharge.
You don't recharge. Thank
Yeah,
you from
yeah.
being around people.
Yeah.
So once I learned that, because I always used me being an introvert as my reason for, oh, I'm shy, I'm an introvert, I'm this, I'm
Right.
that, and then when it was broken down to me properly, that no, just because you're an introvert doesn't mean you can't be outgoing. It just means that you have a limit to how much of that you can give. And that has changed so much for me too, because I would go into rooms and I'd be surrounded by, like, when I say top dogs in real estate, like I went to EXPCon recently and I was around some of the big dogs for EXP. And the first time I went, I was shy. I didn't say hi to nobody. You would have thought I couldn't talk. It was terrible. And then this time around, I told myself, if I want to be like them, I have to
Make the
talk to them. I have to have those conversations. And that's when I was like, okay, I need to act like my future self. And I went up to those people like, hi, I'm Venesha Angus. Nice to meet you. Boom, boom, boom. And they're like, oh, nice to meet you. And I was like, oh my God, this works.
It works. It works. It
so
works.
that was huge for me.
Are you in therapy?
I was.
Okay.
Not anymore.
Okay.
I was, but
What are you going back?
I will.
When? Whenever you're ready.
Soon.
Okay. Okay.
You know what? It's not even that I don't want to go back to therapy. It's I don't think I'm at a position yet to apply what they want me to apply. And I know that sounds and the thing is I'm tired of wasting money and I don't do what they tell me to do. That's my thing. And
strong.
when I did it last time, I was like, oh, this is great. But then when it came to the application, I was like, okay, I'll catch you next month. And then they're like, what did you do? And I'm like, nothing. That's why I'm here. So I think for me, I'm trying to be in a position where if I'm going to do something, I want to be fully in it.
100%.
And I'm not just going to do therapy to do it. If I'm going to do therapy, I want to be at a point where I'm like, okay, I'm ready to apply everything that you're going to be giving me.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's great. No, shout out to your awareness. Self-awareness is
Self-awareness. I'm a Pisces. We're very aware.
whatever that means.
You brought up yours.
I know.
Okay, we're gonna switch to a different topic.
All right.
So we're gonna be talking about the pressure of purpose, and I know we kind of touched on this a little bit, but I think this is really big for both of us. So my first question for you is: do you ever feel like you're carrying more than one calling?
Yeah, I would definitely say so. I'm big on like giving back, so mentorship. So I try to kind of like do the mentorship thing.
Okay.
With a few people who like a few younger creatives.
Okay.
I also feel called to do the business thing, obviously. But also I think like I think I guess I don't it's interesting because you don't really know what, like you just feel called to something or you feel like you want to do something but you don't know if it's your calling. You feel like you want to try something or do something but like it may not be your call. I used to do when I was much younger, I used to play the keys.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I used to play the keys back in New York. It was kind of like I went to the Boys and Girls Club of New York City.
Okay.
Sorry, no, the Boys Club of New York City. Wait, was it the Boys and Girls Club? Whatever, it was in Harlem. Shout out to Harlem.
I thought that was a Canadian thing, the Boys and Girls Club. I didn't even know that was a.
Oh yeah, it was in cities.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Learned something new.
So I went to the Boys and Girls Club, and I would always be in the music department. So I learned the keys. I learned how to make my own beats on like a beat machine and stuff like that. Made an album. It was actually pretty cool. We recorded an album. We had a whole recording studio. It was pretty.
Did you have like your face on the cover?
No, it was just a disc. It was a regular disc, and like, yeah, ain't no cover. But I made like a compilation of
I can
music.
see like little Axel just on the front.
No, no, just a compilation of music. And I used to play the keys, and I thought it was cool. I was decent, but it didn't ever really feel like my calling. It just kind of felt something I gravitated towards, and I let it go, right? And now I feel like poetry is my calling because when I'm in my bag, when I'm in my element with the pen. Lord Jesus, it flows.
Oh, yeah?
It flows, and I feel like I'm really good with the
Nothing for us today.
words. I did a little freestyle for you off top earlier. If you want, I could.
I'm just saying, if you go offer, I'm gonna take you.
Circle back at the end of the podcast.
But you know what? I'm actually happy that you brought up that not everything that you try is your calling. Because I think, again, something I've always struggled with too, it's how do I know if this is my purpose? How do I know if this is my calling? How do I know if this is right? How did you know that what you're doing right now was maybe one of your callings? Like, what was that feeling for you? Or did something happen for you to be like, okay, you know what? That's the sign I needed to see for me to know this is my calling.
A few things. Again, like I think God is just so. I think God is a poet. I think God is a poet.
He is.
Because
he is.
I'm like, so there's small things. Like there was a, you know how you have do you have a Google Chromecast? Like, it's like a Fire Stick for Amazon, but like you put it in your TV.
I have a Fire Stick, but yeah.
So Google has one version of that. Okay. And there was a day where I was talking to Mel about something Pieces of Us related. This is before Deeply Rooted or 613 R&B. And the Google Chromecast does like a screensaver mode, right? It just goes through a bunch of different photos that are stock images of Google. And typically I'll see the same ones on rotation. And I was talking to Mel about Pieces of Us, but like more from like a, just like looking back at all the things we've done and like just kind of celebrating it. I think we were at the end of a season or something. And lo and behold, on the screen, I shit you not, comes, because our logo is a chess piece.
Okay.
A chess piece, a queen, and no, a king and a pawn. So the pawn is on the floor and the king is standing upright. And that was the
Ooh.
first and only time I had ever seen a chess piece logo.
Yeah.
I looked at them, I was like, what the F is going on? This is mad creepy.
Yeah.
And maybe it was just the universe. But I'm
No,
like,
that's
nah, B, that's
God.
God.
That's God.
There's just-
God said you're
there's-
on the right path.
and that happens
Yeah.
sometimes where I'm like God, just send me a sign, send me
Yeah.
something. Like I'm not sure anymore, because it is hard being an entrepreneur. It is hard dealing with like the disappointments, the losses, even the wins. Sometimes like it feels right, but it's like I have to do this all over again, right? And so the times that I feel like, okay, no, this is definitely purpose is when I see signs from God, or when I hear people who are tied to this thing that we're doing, or even not tied to this thing that we're doing, tell us, yo, this has a profound impact on me. I just want you to know, whether it is verbally, whether it is through a survey, whether it is a DM. We've had people who told us, yo, I came in beefing with my bestie. I thought it was her fault. I left your event and I went to apologize to her because I realized it was my fault instead.
Wow.
Like little things like that.
Yeah.
So I think for me, it confirms, and it goes back to kind of mentorship. It's almost like I'm mentoring, or the platform is mentoring, right? Through what we are creating, mentoring others, or giving people something that they can feel as they're walking in and as they're leaving. So I think that realization is important for me to keep going. It helps my engine. And the mentorship, the one-on-one, like when I'm doing it with the different creatives, I'm recognizing and I'm hearing that the way that it is important for them to connect with me in that way. And though I get extremely busy and I can be really horrible with text messages, they never leave here. So like I'm like, okay, I just need to get over this like crazy hump. I'm gonna get right back to you, because I know that like you trusted me with whatever it is you're going through, and we're talking about it, we're creating art about it, whatever it might be, and you're sharing that with me, and to me it's a privilege that you're sharing that with me, right? So it's not a right, so I want to honor that in any way I can. So those, when I feel that, it's the internal feelings, and it's more internal than it is external, but the external definitely helps the internal. But it's the internal of like, how does it feel to me, and why am I here? Why am I doing this? Why was I brought to this? And if I'm having that conversation, sometimes as I'm talking, I'm thinking. Some people say they talk to God. I'm not quite there yet spiritually. I don't think I'm emotionally mature enough to admit that that's what's happening. I think it's more God is helping shape my thoughts, and as I'm having the conversation internally, I'm pinpointing this, I'm pinpointing that, because there's so much happening in a day, you forget a lot of stuff. So, yeah.
But you know what, though? I feel like when we talk about God, people have this idea that there's only one way to hear from him, or whatever the case
Very
is.
true.
And for you, it could be signs. Like that could be your thing where,
True.
you might not hear him, but he'll show you.
True.
Like for me, every time I talk to people, they're like, oh, I can hear God clearly. I'm like, how? What does he sound like? I don't get it, blah, blah, blah. And then for me, it's, okay, well, I don't hear him, but this is going to sound crazy, but like whenever I'm not sure about something, he'll show it to me in a dream. I'll usually have a dream about it.
Oh, it's not crazy.
Yeah, I'll
I know
usually have a
people.
dream about it. And I remember when I first got into real estate, and I picked the team that I'm on, of course I questioned like, okay, did I make the right decision? Is real estate it? And then I kid you not, we had a meeting, and we're in the meeting, and then one of my colleagues was like, let's take a selfie. And it was like I had this weird
Deja vu
flashback,
type,
and I was
yeah.
like,
I've been
I
here
already did this.
before. Yeah.
and that's when I was like, okay, God, I'm here.
I hear you.
Yeah, and so that's my way of knowing, am I doing the right thing?
I love that.
I always know when I'm not, based on how uncomfortable I get. Like God does this thing where he shakes me up, where it's like, he's like, I'm gonna make you so uncomfortable until you make a decision, until you do something different. And I feel like I've been going through that right now, and I've been fighting it for as long as I can. And he just continues like, I'm gonna make it more uncomfortable, and it's gonna get more uncomfortable. And then I just get to the point, I'm like, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. Dang, just give me 2 weeks. Just give me 2 weeks.
Not the 2 week notice.
But it's
That's
interesting for people, your sign for if you're in the right industry or if you're doing the right thing can come in so many different ways.
For
You know,
sure.
it might not be, you know, you seeing something on the screen. It might not be you having a dream. It could be as simple as you see a rainbow. You see, you know what I mean? Like I've had people that I've watched and they're like, you know, God, if this is legit, just show me something. And they love rainbows, and all of a sudden they're like, oh my gosh, it's a rainbow. A rainbow's
Yeah.
my favorite
Yeah.
thing.
Or a ladybug. I heard that
Lady,
that's a
yeah.
thing
So
too.
there's so many ways for God to show up in your life
I
that
appreciate you
if
telling me that.
100%
Yeah.
that if you open up your what's the word for that? If you your
Perspective.
perspective, if you open up your perspective as to how God can come to you, you'll start seeing him in so many different ways. And I think that's a huge thing for me is I had to let go of this idea of, okay, maybe I might not hear him, but maybe I can see him in different ways. Maybe I can talk to him in different ways. And for me, it's my dreams. Like every time I have something, I'll get a dream and I'm like, oh, really? Dang, that one, like we have to do that one right now, you know. So
That's really good.
yeah, and
Thank you for
that's my
sharing
thing.
that.
Of course.
Yeah, I'm gonna process all of this. All of this. When the camera's cut off, I'm processing, bro.
So the next question I wanted to get into is how do you find balance between ambition and stillness?
Wow. Yo, hold up. Who wrote your questions today? Because these are some good
These are good
questions. Okay, girl.
I
Okay,
can't
you in
tell
your
nothing.
bag. That's an excellent question. I kind of want to say that stillness is driven by, or ambition is driven by stillness, because when I think back to my the time that I told you, like I took a pause and thought through things and a piece of us was born. That was me being still, right? That was me being still and trying to understand, hey, like why? Why are we in this position? What do we want to do? Why do we want to do the thing that we want to do? Does it make sense? Who is it impacting? Who does it affect? How do you get there? Who do you need to talk to? Like the stillness allows for you to think more clearly, see more clearly, and just process like the best avenue. And I think it drives like because I think they're interdependent. You need both. Because ambition is I think ambition exists in most of us. You just got to figure out your why,
Yeah.
you know? So no, I don't think I pick. I use both interchangeably. Like I will start with stillness when I'm like I really want to do this thing, but like let me be still for a second and think about it and understand why I need to do this. And then go into that route. Cuz like for you, why'd you go into real estate?
I've always wanted to be in real estate, literally since I was a kid. I tell this to everybody. My favorite game to play,
Monopoly.
Monopoly.
Yeah.
When I say favorite, I will crush anybody at Monopoly. My reeling and
I'll
dealing.
take you up on that.
Oh, I'll crush you. And the reason why I say that is because for me, it comes back down to understanding people. What's your pain point? What's making you scared right
Yeah,
now?
yeah, 100%.
And when I play Monopoly and I see you got your last $2,
You coming
hey,
for
baby,
that.
look, give me your green card right here. This is what I'm going to do for you. You can land on all mine for free. And I'm going to give you $30 off of every one that they land on. And they're like, oh, wow, okay, now I'm in business with her.
100%.
I get to stay in the game.
100%.
So for me, when I was like, yo, I wonder if real estate's really like Monopoly. And when I got into real estate, it really is like Monopoly.
Did you have a moment of stillness before you jumped in? Or you just kind of jumped in like head first, like, I got this?
You know what's crazy? So when I initially wanted to get into real estate, that would have been, like I said, I was young. So since a kid, I always told myself I'm either going to be some kind of entrepreneur or I'm going to be an athlete. Literally, that was my two things. I actually wanted to be a fashion designer.
Oh,
that was my
wow.
first thing. So I actually have a
Okay.
tattoo that's 7 down, 8 up. So I actually created a fashion
Called 7 down, 8 up.
7 down, 8 up.
That's pretty cool.
So it's like you fall 7 times, you get up 8.
Okay.
That was it. And then I even have hats and everything. Boom.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Yeah, I was that girl. And then
Designer.
I was like, I like this, but it wasn't fully what I wanted to do because I like the negotiation aspect. I like working
You like
with
the
people.
human element of
I
it,
like-
like the exchange.
Yes and no.
Okay.
I like the competitive aspect of real estate. Like, can I win this?
You're such a bro.
I'm so
You?
competitive. I'm
Oh
so
my
competitive.
goodness.
I'm not even gonna tell you how bad it is, but I've competed with people that didn't even know we competed.
Of course, you're
Like,
Michael Jordan. You make things up in your head.
I
Okay.
remember one day I was walking to school, off topic. I remember one day I was walking to school and there's a dude across the street and I was like, I wonder if I could beat him to school. This man didn't even know we competing. I saw he was walking fast as hell. I was like, all right, let me just. The way I was sweating by the time I got to school. I said, I beat him.
Validation.
Check.
That's
He
wow.
didn't even know we're competing. So for me,
Wow.
real estate from my client standpoint is I like to help people. I like to
Okay.
serve people. Same thing. I'm a very big giver.
Yeah.
I'm not good at receiving, but I'm a very, very big giver.
Yeah.
I will give you my shirt off my back if I need to.
Yeah.
But then I enjoy the competitive aspect of it, which is the negotiating. Can I get this deal for my clients?
Right.
Can I get them this? Can I get them? I love that part.
Yeah.
You know, and this is gonna be crazy, but I remember when I first got into real estate, I was looking at my horoscope and it was talking about like Pisces are good in businesses or as an entrepreneur. But the bad thing about Pisces is because we're so intuitive, sometimes we use that to our advantage, but not in a good way, where we can read people too much, where we
Manipulation.
know exactly, where we
Yeah.
can manipulate situations.
Yeah.
And I'll look back on other businesses and I was like, oh yeah, I definitely manipulate that one. Yeah, I definitely did. And so that I had to become a lot more conscious about when doing stuff where it's, okay, I make sure I'm not taking advantage of people's
That's it.
feelings or
Yeah.
whatever the case is. So
Yeah.
that I'm good with. But getting back to real estate, yeah, no,
You didn't have a moment of stillness before you?
no, it was really
you just
just
knew.
I wanted to do this.
Interesting. Okay.
2018 hit. I was working at the car industry in 2018, and I don't know why I was so stupid. I was the type of kid that I did not care if I lost a job because I can get another one tomorrow. Like I did not care, and I sat in that job with my real estate book, studying in front of my general manager. My boy
Wow.
said, "So you trying to get your real estate license?" And I just looked at him. I said, "I can't even lie. Like it's right here." And I was like, "Yes." And then he goes, "Okay, well, I'm going to offer you a finance manager position." I was like, well, how much does that make? And I was like, we gonna have to do some math. You know, and the math needs to
100%.
make sense. And he was like, yeah, you can make easy from like 10 to 20K a month. I said, yeah, I'm gonna do that. So
Sounds good.
I stopped doing real estate. And then, so that happened. And then 2019, we had a full switch in that job. So I let go of that job. And then my brother passed away in 2019. So then I just put everything
God
on
rest his
pause. And then I had one more year of university. So I told myself, you know what? Life is so short. I literally just watched my brother be here one day and then gone the next. I said, you know what? Let me just finish my degree, get that out of the way. Then COVID hit. Thank God COVID hit because I got to do my exams online.
Yeah.
Easiest passes I've ever got. So I finished my last year.
Allegedly.
Yeah. Oh,
Allegedly the easiest.
no, it was the easiest. It was the
Okay,
easiest.
all right.
Because the reason why was not because I cheated. No, not because I cheated.
Oh, that's why I was saying the alleged.
No. The reason why
Okay.
is because there was only so much they could do, right? Like it just
Yeah,
happened.
so they don't really know.
So they were like, all right, multiple
this is what we
choice,
need. Yeah.
open book, and I was like,
Oh,
deal.
snap.
So literally
Okay.
and then two of them like, we're not even gonna do an exam. We'll just do an essay. So I was like,
Wow.
oh, easy. So that's why I say it was the easiest for me. And then so I wanted to
Clarify
go.
that.
Yeah.
Clarify that.
So I wanted to go into real estate at that point too. But then once that hit, I had to figure out how to make money. I literally just moved out on my own a month before, had no money. I was still doing fitness at the time. So that's when I created Pound for Pound,
Yeah.
where I turned my fitness camp, my boot camps into all virtual. And I made it Zoom, made it super easy, played music in the back.
You also sold merch though.
I sold merch as well.
Yeah.
I brought out my waist trainers
Yeah.
after that too. So yeah, I had to do that. And then I had my son. And real estate was always on my mind. Like I
Okay.
always knew I wanted to get into real estate. Things just never lined up.
Right.
And then it was when I had my son, I said, okay, I'm now going to be bringing a little human into the world. And is there anything that I'm able to leave him? And I think that's when I said, I need to build some kind of legacy
I
or
love that
something
mindset.
for him that he can either take over or it builds something where this is his,
Gotcha.
where whether I've purchased multiple properties, whatever the case is. And that's what made me do real estate. So I actually got my license right after giving birth to my son. Yeah, so I
Wow.
started studying the minute I found out I was pregnant. I got back into it. I finished my last exam when Kane was 6 months or 5 months.
Wow.
And then I started in real estate the month after.
Wow.
I know. When I say I can't take it easy, like people are
Bro.
like, chill, do one thing at a time. I'm like, nope, might as well just get everything done.
Motherhood, I have a lot of friends who are becoming first time mothers.
Ooh.
They tell you that the lack of sleep is worse than torture.
You know what?
Kane wasn't like that.
No, and when I say I'm highly blessed and highly favored, I am highly blessed and highly favored. I'm so good. I don't know how. Like God gave me so much strength and energy that I never experienced the
Wow.
sleepless. Like I had the sleepless nights, but it never affected me the way it would
Wow.
affect other people. And maybe it's because I used to work at a nightclub when I was younger. There's so many things that I'm like, this all could have added to
Yeah.
it, but God was so good that by I think 3 months, Kane was pretty much fully sleeping throughout the night. So
What?
yeah, and I am a very routine person.
Wow.
So
Okay.
for me, it was every 3 hours, boom, on the clock. Like let's get this done.
Okay.
Back to it. So it wasn't anything that I wasn't ready for.
Okay.
And I like
Okay.
to prep myself. So I'd have this bottle ready, this done.
Organization.
Everything. I'm so organized, and I
Gotcha.
had to be organized for me not to lose my mind.
Absolutely.
So that's how I did that. And then when Kane would sleep, that's when I would study for my exams. He would either go to my mom's house when I had to do my actual exam, or Alex would take him on a walk for 2 hours, let me do my exam. And
Wow.
yeah.
Wow. I didn't even know
Crazy, eh?
all these things.
Yeah, it's
That's
crazy.
super dope.
And a lot of people are
Shout
just
out
like,
to
oh my
you.
gosh, you got your real estate license, but they don't know
The backstory.
the backstory behind everything.
incredible.
Yeah. So
Shout out to you.
thank you.
Shout out
You
to
see, I
you.
said thank you. But just getting back to the ambition and stillness,
Yeah.
I think I struggle with stillness because I feel like going back to that hyper independence,
Yeah.
going back to feeling like I'm not doing enough,
Yeah.
I'm always chasing what's next. So I have too much of the ambition aspect of it.
For sure.
But recently, a Bible verse came up.
Talk about it.
Oh, Jesus. I said, God, shoot, I just be sinning. I just be sinning. Because there's supposedly, it's a sin to overwork. I said, dang. Damned if I do, damned if I
Wow,
don't.
that's
So,
crazy.
yeah, after.
Your transitions.
I know I just jump from like thing to thing.
Craziness.
But no, that's literally what has caused me recently to say, okay, I need to be more still. Was I try to take now what I'm learning in the Bible and actually apply it to my life. Where one big thing I learned in the Bible is there's not many jobs in the Bible. There's not many people that work for other people in the Bible. Majority of them are entrepreneurs.
Farmers, etc.
Exactly. All own their own business, whatever they either they sold cattle or whatever.
Yeah.
So that was my first lesson where I was like, all right, God, if you don't want me to work for someone else, you got to direct me with my business. So that was my first lesson. My second lesson that I learned was actually the stillness, where what God tells you, I'm just paraphrasing, but to be still and let him be God. And when I took that in, because I would always be working, and I burnt myself out, and I'm still coming out of the burnout. And when I learned about that made me realize I need to trust God more, because he wouldn't have brought me he wouldn't have brought me this far if I wasn't meant to be here. So I'm learning to take a step back and just let him work in my life. So I would say those are my two biggest things that I've taken so far from the Bible. And then one other one actually, where he tells you not to owe money to other people, to be a giver
Debt-free.
as much as you can, and not a borrower. So that's another thing where I'm like, okay, if you want me to be a giver and you don't want me borrowing money, you gotta help me make that money.
Bring me the money.
You gotta help me get the bag
100%.
because I need the bag to not borrow.
100%.
So just things like that, I've started to be like, okay, if it's in the Bible, and he wants us to follow his word, he wouldn't have put this in the Bible if this is not supposed to happen.
Yeah.
You know?
It's not achievable.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I just remind myself of that every day. Like he wouldn't have told me to be an entrepreneur if I wasn't supposed to be an entrepreneur. He wouldn't have told me to be still if he wasn't working it out for me. And I think that's what's been keeping me going now and kind of teaching me the stillness.
I love that. Oh, shout out to you.
Tea. And I already know I touched on legacy a little bit, but let's go into legacy, love, and what's next for you. Okay. So what kind of legacy do you want to leave in this city or in this world?
This is going to sound really morbid, but like I often think about what my funeral would look like.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, but not in like a not like I think about it from the perspective of like what do I want it to look like, right?
Okay.
Because I think oftentimes when people pass, it is unfortunately, it's a moment. It's a moment that will reside with you, but life still goes on. And for me, it's really important to feel like I tell Mel this often. Like one of the things I feel is what is my life's purpose is to impact the like one life and change it for the better, change its course completely for the better. Younger life, like someone who is kind of coming up, a young person, not my own kid, someone else. And that, like, for me, that's really what it comes down to is I want to be as good of a human being as I possibly can be while I'm here. I want people to remember me as someone who is always willing to extend a hand whenever you needed it. The person who you can come to in your moments of need, and even if I may not have, I will try.
Yeah.
Because for me, it takes a lot to ask, right? For people to ask things of you, I like to think of it as it takes a lot of courage to ask for help. And so in recognizing that courage, like it's on me to try to meet you wherever I can, not to my own detriment. So I just honestly, I just want to be a really good human who, as best of a human as I can be, who did some really cool stuff while I was here and allowed for people to feel something, whether it's seen, heard, connected, loved, find love at 613 R&B, or just connect with something that's happening on stage at Pieces of Us, or like just, yeah, someone who brought people together in the best way.
Awesome.
So yeah.
Well, we're going to be wrapping up.
Yeah.
So, one thing I want to ask is what would you say to someone listening who feels stuck or unseen right now?
Holy. Well, okay. I'll say this. Don't be afraid to be still, right? Go back to the drawing board, and understand who you are, why you want to do the thing that you're doing and that you're not being seen or like you're feeling stuck in. And then two things. Pick up a book. Will Smith said this. He said two things that really helped him in life was to pick up a book, because when you're going through something, someone actually probably already went through that and wrote about it. Find a book, read it. Second thing is stay consistent. Keep running, because when you learn to run, if you jog or whatever, that little voice inside you that like keeps coming back like, oh my God, I'm tired, I want to give up, if you learn to beat that, you are doing something right in your life. Like there's at least something that you are winning at. And the second quote I heard is from this guy, I think his name is Derek Falcon. He owns like a bunch of stuff in the States, but he said, in a world of people, in a world where people are looking to figure out who they are, I know who I'm not. And I was like,
I like that.
that one down. Gotta write that one down. I gotta remember that for the times I need to pull it out, like right here, because I found that to be incredibly powerful. Yeah. And just remember, you are your own individual, and even if you're feeling stuck in this moment here in time, it's take it as an opportunity to get acquainted to yourself, understand where you are, understand what you want to do, and don't be afraid to ask for help. Pick up a book, do the self-help thing, but then also ask for help to the people who are around you, people who you trust. If you don't have that, find an online community, because there are communities online that will absolutely make you feel seen and heard. So just don't stop. Keep trying. Even the days that are sucky, that are hard, you're like, I don't want to do this. Take the break, but come back to it, because if you feel like you are doing it and like you really are meant to do it, you're meant to do it. Just keep working at it, and you'll find a way. God will find a way for you if you don't.
Amen.
So, yeah.
And where can everybody find you? I know we have it up here, but let them know. Let them know what's coming up. Let them know where they can find you.
So the next event that we have is actually this Sunday at Pieces of Us.
Yeah.
You gonna be there?
I think I should be there.
Oh, okay. At Share Your Piece on Instagram, at 613 R&B. Our next one is going to be in Montreal on June 7th, Osgang Plaza. The event that's happening at Piece of Us, this might not come out before then, but it's at Club Saw, and we have 3 really incredible headliners. And then Deeply Rooted Talks, at Deeply Rooted Talks on Instagram. That's probably gonna, we're trying to figure it out. That's our little baby, but it's a lot. That baby is heavy. It's hard to build that platform because it's meant to be a thought provoking platform. So it takes a lot more work, but we'll be right back at it.
Yeah.
So
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Axel, for being on Real Talk.
Thank you for inviting me. It's been lovely.
Yes. And thank you, everybody, for watching another episode of Real Talk. And please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Turn your notifications on so you do not miss another episode.
Support this woman.
Support me! Please!
The please is important. The please is important.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.